Hi, Flastu. It's Diane. Today is March 17th, 2021. Happy St. Patty's Day. Celebrations are probably going to be different this year as what else is new. So I thought I'd do a quick update. The only haul I have are my threads of the month from 3 Owl Threads. I get Classic Colorworks. I get 10 of them. And if you're looking for a way to build your stash, look at her nest egg programs. I did Gentle Arts for a while, and then I asked to switch to Classic Colorworks, and that's what I'm receiving. So these are the 10 that I received. To my knowledge, none of these are called for in a specific project, but I could be wrong on that. So I have to put those on the ring. I also received my fibers of the month from Fiberlicious. And they are inspired by St. Patty's Day, so they're greens. So, yes, they're going to be crinkled. I have to agree with the floss tuber. I really don't like these kind of bags. It says, may your blessings outnumber the shamrocks that grow, and may trouble avoid you wherever you go. So, Beyond the Clovers is her collection. This one is Crystal Drops. This one is Spring Leaves. Clovers, very appropriate. Jade. And Daisy. So those are the 5 I received from Fiberlicious. My fibers of the month. Now I could put those on their ring. I also did one more block for my daughter on her quilt. This one is block number 10. We're going to do this pattern. Several of you have contacted me that you bought the pattern and want to do it. I would start with this one. Okay, number 10. Especially if it's been a while since you did foundation paper piecing, don't start with number 1. I still have to redo that one. But I kind of got burned out on that quilt a little bit. And so I'm making a scrap quilt for myself just to have, and then I'll jump back into her quilt because now I have 8 of the 16 blocks done, so I'm halfway there. Stitching. Excuse me. This is the Historic Country sampler. I will link where you can purchase the pattern. Someone was confused thinking that it was in a Facebook group. No, there is a Facebook group regarding this style, but you have to purchase the pattern separately, and there's information in the Facebook group, but I'll link it below. This was from a digital magazine that stopped. I think the last issue was May, June of 2012. If I had known about this, I would have been a subscriber, but I didn't know about it. And this gives you a feel for what the overall pattern is. So I had this is England part 1, or part 2, excuse me. England part 1's over here. So I had England part 2 done, because I started in the upper left-hand corner. I had Ireland done, and I was working down here in the Netherlands. I had it completed all the way to the ship, and then I had one of these medallions done, or almost done. And reorganize just a wee bit. This is 40 count white. I am using overdyed cottons instead of the silks, but I am not necessarily using the called for cottons. I pulled some of them were, she listed gassed as an option. I had, I think, one of them, but the other colors I just pulled from my other, I have a collection of overdyed cottons. I just showed you Classic Colorworks and Fiberlicious, so those are 2. Also Carrie's Creation Cottons. I don't think there's any weeks in this, at least the colors that I chose. I might as well pull that out so you can see what I'm talking about. So I kind of looked at the picture. I looked online. What do these colors look like? Both the Dinky Dyes and the Gentle Arts. And I kind of pulled from my overall collection. There is one metallic called for. And I chose a petite treasure braid for that one. But here is where I'm at. So this part's England. It's about, I think about here is the England part 2. And then Ireland. And it goes all the way across here. And these blue medallions were part of Ireland. And then this, from here up, is all Holland. And it goes all the way over to these green medallions over here. So Holland, how I'm stitching it, part 3 is done. And I started on Spain down here. And it's going to go farther down here, but I didn't trust my counting because this is a specialty stitch and I really didn't want to get off. So I thought I'm going to start filling this portion in more, and that will help me know if I'm off. I had this stitched here, this band. I didn't like the color I had chosen, so I had to rip it out and choose a different color because it did make a difference. And again, these are the colors that I have chosen. A mixture of Carrie's Creation cottons, Gentle Arts. I think there's a Classic Colorworks or 2 in here. There might even be a Fiberlicious in here. So when I'm done with this whole piece, I'll let you know what colors I used in case you have some of them. But again, it's 40 count white, 1 strand over 2 threads, unless the specialty stitches say otherwise. Because here are specialty stitches, and they say they want you to use 2 strands, even on 40 count. So I followed those directions, but the basic crosses are 1 strand over 2 threads. I also have been doing some secret stitching that's going to be a gift, so I can't show that. And that's the piece that I've been working on the most, that other piece. But my whip go for March is 2 parts of the Historic Country Sampler, so I have 1 of them done. And I don't remember how far over the Spain part goes. But the Spain part seems to have a lot of specialty stitches. I was asked if this piece could be stitched on Ada. In my opinion, yes, if you understand that you may need to use 2 strands over 1 square instead of 1 strand over 2 threads like I'm using on linen. You might need to increase the strands to get the coverage. Also, some of the specialty stitches I could see running into an issue with Ada cloth because you have to pierce the fabric, and so far I haven't found anything that would be absolutely impossible, but it would be challenging. But also those particular pieces or sections, you can either stitch them in full crosses or even pull that motif and put a different motif in there. For example, this little, my 4-leaf clover, for lack of a better term, these 4 hearts that are put together like this, that's satin stitch. You could stitch that with full crosses. The darning stitch, this would be the section that would be probably the most challenging that I've stitched so far, which is the Spargello section and then this section here. That would be a huge challenge on Ada cloth. But again, if maybe you substitute something else for that section, if you're willing to do that, I think you could stitch this on Ada cloth. I would try for like an 18 count Ada if you're comfortable on that. Your stitches would be a little larger than my stitch size, but if you use 20 count Ada, your stitch size would be the same as my stitch size. But I don't think it would be absolutely impossible, but it would be challenging. If you're willing to make those kind of adjustments, yes, I think you could stitch it on Ada. As long as you give credit where credit's due, say, hey, this is from the Gift of Stitching magazine, but I made these changes, you wouldn't have the cross-stitch police after you, because that would not break copyright. You can make changes in patterns. I mean, I've done it. Not just personalization, but I did that whole color conversion of Zelda last year. As long as you give the original designer the credit, then there's no issue. So essentially give credit where credit's due. So that's all I have. It's going to be a short video, which is fine. Plans are to continue working on my secret stitch. Hopefully get that done by the end of March. And then work on this historic country sampler. The other Whip Go numbers were 2 more motifs on either Rose Quaker or Autumn Forest Quaker. I haven't touched those yet. I don't know if I'll get them done in March, but my Whip Go goals are year-long goals. Yeah, because in January I said I would finish a large piece because I knew it would be the whole year. And my intention is to have that piece done by the end of the year. And the Whip Go numbers will be picked the 26th or 27th of March for April. What you're really here for is the giveaway. That's fine. The bags. I did draw names. And so for the Plum Bag, I said you had to use the word plum and then answer the question if you like milk chocolate or dark chocolate. And this is your YouTube name. So I will need you to email me your human name, not your digital name. And with your address that I can mail this to you, I'll mail anywhere in the world. And I will also comment on your comment, and then my email will be below. So it's just mondotstitches@gmail.com. So really easy. And then you need to get in touch with me with regard to your snail mail address so I can send it to you. Melissa O. So you win Plum Bag number 1. The interior is just a solid plum. And I will be folding this to put it in the envelope, but if that bothers you, just iron it out. And I'm going to put this card in here so I remember whose is whose. The tree bag. And this is Tone and Tone Snowflakes, and that is what the lining is also. Again, your YouTube channel name, Northern Stitcher. So again, get in touch with me so I can mail this out to you. And then someone who's watched my videos for a long time, and I've had the pleasure of meeting a real person in, face to face in real life. And I think you won a giveaway of mine a while ago. E.F. Bauer, the other Plum Bag. So I'm trying to figure out if I still have your mailing address. But anyway, you win the Plum Bag. Yay! March 14th was the due date, and that was my husband's and my anniversary, and it was really good weather. We went to Biaggi's, which is an Italian restaurant bistro here in the Twin Cities area. I don't know if they're nationwide, I don't know. And really good food. Really good. I had a salmon risotto, gluten-free. And it was very, very good. And that's what we did. Of course, then it snowed the next day. Because it always snows around our anniversary. When we got married, there were 7 inches of snow on the ground. So, yeah, that's all I have. I'll plan on being back beginning of April. End of March, that week sometime. Next week, our car goes in for a huge repair. I'm not going to look forward to that repair bill. But aside from that, we have colds going through the house. It's very normal for my family to get a springtime cold. It's hot, cold weather. I mean, last week we were at 70 degrees. I think the 5th of March we were at 70 degrees or something. And then on the 15th, or no, it wasn't the 5th of March, it was the 8th. And on the 15th, we had snowy, slushy weather. The boys and I went grocery shopping, and just that time frame I had to come out. I had to brush the car off, and it's sticky, heavy stuff. So the weather's been fun. But it's Minnesota, and March tends to be one of our snowiest months. But beyond that, I'm just going to stitch and sew when I'm in the mood, and just do what I have to do. So I will hopefully see you in about 2 weeks, and enjoy your stitching. Be safe as it warms up here in the Northern Hemisphere. Get out and enjoy the weather as much as possible. Those of you going in the Southern Hemisphere, autumn is my favorite time of year. So yeah, but love to you all, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.